Welcome to the Thornton Review.
The show designed with you in mind. If it's important to you, it's important to us.
We want to thank our sponsors, Ida Gates Godly Teas LLC, Next Door Real Estate Photography, and First National Title Insurance Company. On today's show, we're going to meet Scott Lunsford, a Escambia County tax collector. But first, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll begin our discussion with Scott and find out about the legislative initiatives and new services the Escambia County Tax Collector's Office has to offer. There is no government-funded program that can guide a man's thoughts. Only God can do that. Scott Lunsford was born in Milton, Florida. He currently lives in Pensacola with his wife, Hope. Together, they have one daughter and two grandchildren. His public service career began in 1987, where he served the Florida Highway Patrol as duty officer, and later with the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. He held positions such as License and Registration Inspector, Compliance Examiner, and Regional Administrator for the 17 Florida Panhandle counties. Scott served 30 years as an auxiliary state trooper, retiring at the rank of captain, where he worked closely with the Florida Highway Patrol investigators and received a Davis Productivity Award for his efforts investigating title and insurance fraud. In 2001, Scott joined the Escambia County Tax Collector's Office. He served as Deputy Tax Collector, Assistant Tax Manager, Senior Tax Manager, and Director of Driver's License Services. Scott was elected Escambia County Tax Collector in November of 2016 with a vision to modernize how citizens engage with the Tax Collector's Office. Scott is a six-time recipient of the Florida Tax Collectors Association's Excellence and Innovation in Financial Operations Award. Scott is a certified public manager and certified Florida collector. He serves as the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles liaison for the Florida Tax Collectors Association. Scott cares deeply about the citizens of Escambia County and their interaction with the office. As tax collector, he's responsible for the collection and distribution of a variety of taxes and fees. The Tax Collector's Office issues all forms of licenses, IDs, and permits. With an annual budget of $7 million, Scott Lunsford operates 4 offices with a staff of 100 full-time employees. So Scott, it is nice to have you back on the show. You've been on before. It's always great to have you here. It's always great to have a conversation with you. So you have quite a resume, and you actually held a position, worked at the Escambia County Tax Collector's Office before you decided to run for the office. So you could see firsthand what needed to be streamlined, what worked well, and what didn't work well. And so you invented a few things to help streamline, and you're constantly working and evolving the processes of how it works and to make it more user-friendly, make it more friendly to the citizens to use the tax collector's office.
Right.
I think everybody, there isn't one person that hasn't used the tax collector's office for something. So it's a very vital function of our community and of society. So can you tell us a little about one of your probably most proud invention, the Milo? Can you tell us how that started, and is it operational, and who does it benefit?
The Milo is a passion project for myself. We started this several years ago, and the goal when I started was to serve the north end of the county. We did not have a brick and mortar office there, and we have a lot of citizens that live north of 9 Mile Road that are traveling great distances. So Milo was a solution to offer services up there on a regular basis. So I envision it being something like the Bookmobile. We actually have a web page, taxcollector.com/Milo. If you go to that page, you'll see our schedule, where we're going to be, when we're going to be there. And what I was hoping was to bring that service to the citizens of Century on a regular basis and to provide the services to them. And it benefits the whole community. Today we were at the Civic Center at the U-County event, issued 30 driving licenses to homeless individuals in the community. And to see those folks walking away from our counter, some of them with tears in their eyes, some of them with joy in their eyes. One lady got her ID card, which was the last hurdle to employment. She danced her way out of the Civic Center because she had a job today. So Milo's is really going to benefit this entire community, and we can use it at special events and different community events to bring the services to the public. Pensacola Beach, Perdita Key, places where there's not an office, we can schedule to go there and help our citizens where they work and live.
So it is up and running, and that's what you did at the Civic Center today.
Yes, it is. This is our 5th or 6th event, and we've issued about 75 homeless IDs since we started. It was a homeless event. We did the very first one, and it's up and running. We're out of the testing phase. We've got everything in place, and just happy to be able to bring this service to the citizens.
So will you have like a route where you're up in Century at certain times of the year, like maybe a certain day that you'll announce? How exactly will it work?
Well,
and how do people know where you're going to be there? I'm sure it'll be posted on the website, but you can explain all of that.
Right, it'll be on the website. Our target date for Century is the 3rd Thursday of each month. There are some conflicts where we may have to come a week later, a week earlier. That's the reason we are going to post it at escambiataxcollector.com/Milo. If you go to that webpage, you'll see where we're going to be, if there's any changes, if there's a weather delay or something that's going to disrupt that service. There's also on that same page a list of what do I need when I get to the Milo, so that if you're expecting Milo to be here that Thursday, you can be prepared and know that you'll get your service by having the items you need when you arrive at the counter.
So can you repeat the website?
It's escambiataxcollector.com/Milo, M-I-L-O.
And so you'll have a route. The route will be listed,
Right.
And so people will know if you're going to be in their community, they will know when they can go, if they
Right.
have access to it.
And we'll also, for special events outside of the Century event, we'll certainly issue press releases. Hey, we're going to be here, or whatever event we're going to be at. But the /Milo page is the best place to see where Milo's headed.
Well, it's exciting to know that it's up and running, because the last time you were on the show, it was in progress.
Right. It's been a journey, and we basically created an office that boxes up like a band, goes to a new location, unboxes, and goes back in business. And there was a lot of technological hurdles that we had to get through, and as you might imagine, with issuing driving license, tag, and titles, there's a lot of security protocols that we had to protect, and so it was a challenge, but it was worth doing, and I'm happy that we have it, and I'm just looking forward to the point that the Highway Safety Division in Tallahassee will actually let this thing expand to across the state.
Absolutely, yeah.
I have a question,
Sure.
Scott, and this may be off a little bit. You mentioned the homeless community receiving an ID. Could you tell us some of the things that that community might be able to use their ID for? What is the purpose, and some of the things that they can use the ID for?
One of the things that impacts the homeless community is they are mobile. They're maybe here today, there tomorrow. Something happens, they go to the emergency room. They have nowhere to carry their stuff with them. Their wallets are misplaced, or when they come home back to their area, somebody's taken it or disrupted it. Or I think we waited on 3 today that have had just pure theft in the last few days. Somebody stole their stuff. And so they're facing those challenges. You can't get a bus ticket to go home. You can't get a plane ticket to go home. You can't get a lot of services without that driver license or identification card to prove who you are. So they have a lot of challenges just getting one. We're fortunate that you or I can get up and just drive across town, get one when we need it. We had people coming as far away as Mobile Highway today, hitchhiking and walking and riding bicycles to get an ID card. So it's a major impact for them, and being able to partner with the community today, we were able to issue all of those at no cost to those participants. So that $30 that we would pay is still in their pocket to help them get through the next meal or two.
Okay, that's good. That's great. That's great. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Just happy to be able to do it.
Okay, that's-
And you're the person who brainstormed this whole idea, correct?
Well, I have help, but I do.
Right,
I
but
do.
it was your original idea, and then you started talking to people, and they helped. I mean, of
Right.
course, you can't do that alone, but
It's a team effort, but it all starts with a thought, and you know, what could we do? How could we change it? I think we talked about our homebound solution the last time, and it was out of the frustration of telling someone who's bedridden, no, I can't help you get an ID card. So we took that and ran with it, and we now have a solution where we can go right to somebody's bed and issue a driving license or an ID card using a separate tool. And all these things start with an idea, but it takes a group of people, and sometimes it takes a group of tax collectors, and sometimes it takes all of us to figure out, you know, how to make these things work. But each of them, I can't tell you the impact that first bedside issuance that we did. It was a moving moment to see somebody who had no options get an ID card.
that's great.
Yep.
That's a great community service. So-
Right, and we're blessed to be the people that get to bring it forth, and you know, try to improve it and make it better.
Is there anything else that you created that was solely your idea?
We've got several things. One of the things that's really been beneficial to us is our lien holder module. We saw these people coming in the office time after time, and when you move to Florida, and you know, everybody's moving to Florida nowadays, and you move into Florida, you have a lien on your automobile. We have to write your bank and ask them to send a title so we can convert it to a Florida title and perfect the lien on your new Florida title. Well, you would come in, wait your turn, we would do a bunch of paperwork, and then you would leave with nothing on that first trip. So I kept thinking about it, and I'm like, how do we stop this first trip? We're really not being productive. Customer has to take off of work, come down here, and all they get is thank you, we'll be in touch. So we created a module where you can now go online, fill in all the blanks, answer all the questions we would ask you, and our chief information officer programmed a software package in the background. It takes all that information that you gave it, it generates all the letters we used to type by hand, it generates everything we need, it tracks it, it reminds us if it hadn't finished or something's going on. And we estimate that we save about an hour for ourselves, but on the other side of the counter, there's a customer that saved an hour for themselves.
At least.
And they are now, we watch our statistics, and at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, you would think everybody would be asleep. They're on our website filling in these forms. Presumably, I'm assuming a lot of them are
It's the
at
only
work
time they
or
have to do
working
it.
night shift,
Yeah.
or if you got kids, you just do it when you can. But we've had thousands of those done, and it has saved us a tremendous amount of man hours, tax dollars that we're actually in the office helping people who can leave with something in their hand versus somebody who just gets a we'll call you when it comes in. And it's been very successful, and we have a vendor working to further that. There's a ton of rules about collecting with credit cards and so forth, so we have to be very careful we don't break any of those rules. But we have a vendor who handles that as a business, and we're looking to tie that into our lien holders where we can actually get your paperwork, send you an email and say, here's what you owe. You pay that amount. In most cases, we can finalize that transaction, and you never come to the office.
That is awesome.
So, and then, I'm sorry, the next one is lien holder. Florida went to electronic liens years ago, and people would have to come in once they paid their lien off and ask, hey, can you print my title and hand it to me? And again, same process. We see them coming and coming and coming. Like, how do we stop this from having to come in, sit here and wait, ask for something that's very simple?
And it's
So
a lien
we-
on an automobile?
Lien on an automobile, a vessel, or
Okay.
an ATV.
Oh, gotcha.
All three. So we started with automobiles because it was the easiest and that was the most of them. So we created a little module on our website. You go in, you give us your VIN number, your title number, make your payment. When you get to the office, it's printed, you sign for it, show your ID, and you leave. And we've not been quite a year on that one, and we're approaching 1,200 uses already.
So you fill it out online, and then you have to go to the office to
You have to
present
pick up the
you have to be in
document
person.
because we need to
Because
see.
you won't mail it.
Right, you want to see who's leaving with that title.
Sure.
You don't want me to order your title and come get it and leave with it. So, yes, you have to come in and see it.
Well,
and-
that only makes sense. I don't
Right.
think anybody'd be upset about that because it just prevents fraud.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I'll mention is our locker system. We created a system that we named Express Lockers, Expressway Lockers. And what it allows us to do is if you renew your decals online, we put it in a locker. We email you your unique locker code. You come in, put your code in, the door unlocks itself, you grab your document, shut the door, and you walk
And
right
that's for
back
your
out.
registration decal?
Right.
Uh-huh.
And we've had more than 20,000 pickups on that since we put those in.
Y'all email them. I mean, you mail them to me.
Right.
Yeah.
But we have
So you can do either.
America today, a lot of folks want it right this second, or they forget, and all of a sudden, well, it's my birthday, I got to go down there and get
Or
those
they
decals.
don't trust the mail.
Or they don't trust the
Maybe.
mail, or they're short of time, they're going on
Yeah.
vacation, they don't want to get caught
They
out of
wanna
state
go
with
pick
no
it up for their
decal.
reasons,
So,
yeah.
but
That's great.
we've had
Yeah.
a cross section of customers that use it. Our very first
Yeah.
customer, you tend to want to just stand there and watch it as it happens. And I told him, I said, let's turn it on. Let's go in the back and watch on the cameras. And our first customer was at least 70. Walked into our Warrenton office, walked up to the locker, put his code in, got it, kind of smiled and left. And we're like, this is going to be a home run. And it has been for us.
Good.
And we're thinking eventually we'll put those titles we're talking about in the same situation. We're looking at how do we securely let you know it's ready, and then you pick it up.
Right.
That is awesome. Just sitting here, just the day before yesterday, I had an individual call me. She was getting a car for her daughter. She was going to sell the vehicle that she had, and she was going to actually buy another vehicle for her daughter. So the vehicle she had, the person came over, and they had the money to buy the vehicle. And when she started looking, she didn't have the title. And what happened is that the title, when they sold them the car, they didn't give them the title. And she called the office, the tax collector's office, and found out that she needed to come in and pay, I think, less than $25 and get a title. She did not know that. So she was getting upset with the seller for what the seller
Yeah,
had
of course.
done. The person who sold her the original vehicle, but what that seller had done was evidently left the title over at the title office. Is that? Am I getting that correct? Is that how does that work?
You're pretty accurate, and I'll tell you the backstory on it. Years ago, Barnett Bank, when I was working with Park Motor Vehicles, was having trouble. All their titles got sent to Jacksonville. So you'd pay your lien for 4 or 5 years. You pay it off. Then they had to find the title in this big building full of titles to send to you to say he's paid off his title. So Barnett approached the state and said, hey, we'll give you X number of dollars if you can invent some way to track all these titles. So that's where we started what we call electronic titles. So in the past, when you had a car, you bought it new, you had a lien, you never got the title to start with. It was over in a box somewhere. So instead of having a paper title, we now have an electronic record that's locked by a unique key that the bank has. And the only person that can unlock that title is somebody on that network with the right key. So we've been doing that now for 20 years, at least 25 years. And it has a couple of benefits. One, there's no title to lose. And when you need your title, you can get it the same day by using our service. So if you get it the same day using our fast title service, we call it, it's $10. If we print you a paper title, you take it home and lose it, that title, if you lose it, is $85. So I've got your electronic title stored safely and securely. It's never going to cost you more than $10. And you can have it within an hour. If you go on our website and pay for it, it'll be ready before you can get to us.
I'm thinking about it. That's how much they paid for the title, $10.
$10. Yeah.
So you don't need your paper title anymore.
You do not have to have it anymore. There's a lot of folks that they don't own it till they hold it.
Right.
But the younger crowd, they don't know any other way. You know,
Right.
we were raised, if you didn't have that pink
Yeah,
slip
you
or
had to
title,
keep that in a safe
you didn't
spot.
have
Yeah.
something.
Right.
And these younger kids are just used to it being electronic, and you know, they use their digital wallets and so forth. And this is basically a digital secure spot to save your title until you're ready for it. And again, it's $10 if you get it whatever day you need it.
Okay, that is awesome. That's another good way of not losing your title.
Right.
I know, yeah,
Right.
because things get lost so easily.
Right. And if you were to trade your car into a car dealer, a Florida car dealer, you would not even have to come get it. They can get it for you. You just trade your car in, sign a piece of paper, and they get the title for you. So if it's a straight trade to a dealer, you're covered there as well. Long time you'd need it if you were trading it to somebody that's not a car dealer.
That's really a good idea. I know the county always has, so you can take certain documents, you can take them and have them archived.
Right,
I know when I first got out of the military many years ago, if I would have took my DD-214 there, I could have actually archived it, but I didn't. So now every time I get ready to make one, and I have to make a copy, and it's kind of wore down when all I had to do was.
Where do you take it to have it archived? That's interesting.
At the county.
Clerk of the court.
Clerk of the court, and they will actually archive. They will archive it.
Well, they put it on the computer, and then you still hold your own document. Is that what they do?
I think it's that original document.
Well, they don't keep your original document. They
Right.
give that back,
But
but
they
they
put it in the
make
a
a file for your document, just like your home deed.
Okay.
So if you need a copy of it, they can give you a certified copy of what they have in the record. And for years, that was what military members were told. Hey, when you get to your home county, go file that thing, because if it gets misplaced, you're going to need it at some point down the
Right.
road. But don't forget to bring it to us, because we need to see it as well. Because once I scan it into your record, you may be eligible for a lot of free services that you're not aware about. So we always tell veterans,
Well, that's good to know.
anytime you have a DD-214, you're coming to our office, bring it, let us scan it into your record. Once we put it in our system, it's there forever. And veterans don't have to pay certain fees for driving license and other suspensions and sanctions.
Yeah, they get
when something
benefits
happens.
on certain things. So
Right.
that's good.
I
That's good to
didn't
know.
know that.
Right.
I didn't know
Well,
And
that.
you've
then-
been missing out. Now you know.
And then the final thing that you would want to do is with your DD-214 honorable discharge, we can put a mark on your driving license, which is a blue V. And with that, you can show that you're a veteran very easily anywhere. Lowe's, Home Depot is going to give you a 10% discount. You show them your driving license, they see the blue V, they know you're a veteran.
Okay,
That's great.
that's great.
Well, we are going to take a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some legislative initiatives going on at the Escambia County Tax Collector's Office. Great Change Cleaning Service is Pensacola's premier housekeeping service. We specialize in residential, short-term rentals, and small office cleaning. We want to get your home or office fabulously clean at a reasonable price. Call Great Change Cleaning Service so we can set up a time to get your home or office Great Change clean. So, Scott, there's a list of legislative initiatives that some have passed and some that you're working on. Can you explain the process? Can you tell us about the ones that have passed recently and who they benefit, what they are, and kind of explain to us the process that you're going through to get this list of legislative initiatives passed?
Okay.
And what they are.
Two of them that we've passed, one was heavy trucks. If you own a pickup truck that weighs more than 5,000 pounds, by law, it had to expire in December, not your birthday. So what we would see was people would come in January, February, March. They got a ticket or a conversation with a police officer that they forgot to renew their tag, and they would come in to renew their tag after they got caught. Well, we kept looking at it and we're like, why does this even make sense?
Right.
And from my side of the table, there was two things that we really benefited from. One was by moving it back to your birth date, we could mail all your renewals in one envelope with one stamp. As it were, I was mailing you a stamp and an envelope on your birthday, another one in December, and there was over 12,000 of those in the county. So we asked Tallahassee to divide our county up by true birthdays to see how it would land.
Yeah.
And we have about 1,000 heavy trucks, and each month, one month had about 900. But we're looking at it and we're saying we're pushing 12,000 people into our office in December to get a renewal. Now we're pushing 1,000 a month into our offices, and when I mail them their renewals for the other vehicles, they get their truck notice in it. So we're saving, over the last 4 years, I believe it's been now, we've saved 12,000 envelopes, 12,000 stamps just in that initiative. And then you look at the same thing for mobile homes. They were in the same category. They all expired in December, not the birth owner's birth month. So we moved to get that law changed for the same purpose. So it'll all be in the same birth month, same mailing. And we are working on a system now that when you come in, everything you have that needs to be renewed is going to pop up on the screen. So we'll see your heavy trucks, your cars, your travel trailers, your mobile homes, everything will be in one view. All we say, you want them all or do you want some of them? And we pick the one that you're intending to renew. So that those two statutes together have saved us a ton of money just in postage. And again, 12,000 heavy trucks plus all the mobile homes forced into the office in the same month. The lines were just ridiculous.
Right.
And they're long every day, and to do that to ourselves was kind of counterproductive.
Yeah, putting it on the birthdays breaks it up.
Right.
Because you've got 12 months of the year, so
Right.
you're dividing those 12,000 people into 12 months.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what we're working
And different
on,
days of the month.
right. So what we're working on now is, again, some of the same initiatives. The one I'm working the hardest on is to get where 100% of disabled veterans currently can come in and get a free license plate. They have one choice. It's the red, white, and blue one we see every day that says DV on it. Well, they're stuck to that one choice. There's 32 different license plates that are military related that there's a $10 or $15 fee for extra if you choose that tag, and that $10 or $15 goes to the Department of Veterans Affairs to help serve veterans and veterans in need. So it just makes sense to say if a veteran's entitled to a free license plate, give him any one he wants for free, and he only pays the difference for the plate he chooses to have. So, for example, if he wants a Marine Corps tag, it's a extra $25 to have it, then he's going to get his free tag, but he's going to pay $25 because he wanted the Marine Corps. So veterans get a choice, and the difference we're seeing, 30-something years ago when I started, disabled veterans was using canes and walkers, and they were really disabled. The veterans we're seeing nowadays have had these brain injuries from these explosions and PTSD, and they're perfectly capable of
Physically
walking,
capable, yeah.
but they're 100% disabled veterans. And we talk to them and say, well, if you want to take advantage of this free tag, you have to take this one. And I don't know if you ever fought a Marine before, but if you try to take a Marine's Marine tag away from him to give him a free one, you got a fight on your hands, and they just won't take them. And we have people who are turning down a free service because they don't want the tag.
Yeah.
They want
They
the
wanna
one they have.
choose,
And
right.
again, if you served in the Army, Navy, Marines, you're proud of that, and that's the
Yeah.
place
They
you
want that
want.
service tag.
Absolutely.
So basically what we're saying is your tag has a certain amount that's free no matter what, but if you get that disabled veteran, so we're just saying let us move that across any tag he chooses. And when we say that, it's any tag. Those 32, 33 military support veterans, but we got 150. And if you want a Blue Angels plate, you can use your free for the base and then pay the difference to get the Blue Angel plate.
Okay.
So that's the one that we're working the hardest on. And another one we have, particularly for our military members, they're all out of state. They're working on time zones way different than ours, their own ships and so forth. Well, they get a temporary tag, and it's only good for 30 days. They call us, they need it, we mail it, it's 4 or 5 days gone by the time it gets there, and then immediately they need another one. Okay. Because that one's ran out and we're trying to do some transaction to get their vehicle permanently registered. So this bill would allow us to give military veterans serving or military members and veterans out of state a 60-day tag, so that they have 2 months instead of 1 month to try to wrap everything up, and it just makes sense. And then the same thing I've mentioned before, the thousands of people that we've done the lien holder request where we eliminated that first visit. We give them 30 days, and if that transaction is not from their bank in 30 days, they have to come in to get that temp tag. Well, this way we can do the temp tag, give them 60 days, and almost 100% of them are done within 60 days. So that will take the pressure off of coming in to get a tag. And if you do have to come to get one, you got 2 months before you have to get a new tag. And then the next one we're working on for this session, it's actually in the session now, is motorcycle size plates. We have motorcycle size plates, and we have quite a number of specialty plates now. Blue Angels has a motorcycle size license plate now. And what we're asking in this bill is that we are allowed to use motorcycle size license plates up to large trailers. So if you have like a little yard trailer or a boat trailer, if you go to the dump or you back in your boat into the river, how easy those big ones get pushed around and knocked around and bent. These little ones, you can get one of those, put it on your vehicle or your boat trailer, your motorcycle, and the odds of it being torn off are greatly reduced just by the size of the plate. And then the last one I think I'll answer or mention is, when someone passes away, most times they've dealt with an attorney, they've got all their estates in order. When somebody passes away, in the past, you had to pick up all of those documents that a lawyer wrote and bring it and hand it to one of my agents who's not a lawyer, not trained to interpret or understand it, and we had to decide who owns your automobile. Well, this particular section of law we're trying to amend would say the lawyer or any licensed lawyer in Florida can read all of those papers on your behalf. He fills out this affidavit saying this person gets the car. He signs it. You bring that one piece of paper to us. We'll transfer title to whoever that lawyer said is the lawful owner of that vehicle. That makes
so much sense.
And it saves us from reading 20, 30, 40, 100 pages trying to figure out
right,
who's passed, who's still here, because some of these wills, it's like, well, if she's passed away, I want him to get it, and you have to go through there and start checking them off, and it just takes a ton of time for us to decipher it, and in the time it takes us to figure out who should get it, we could have titled 3 or 4 for other customers. So that's going to be a big one for us, and it's going to be a big win for the people who've lost a loved one.
And that takes away the other family members or friend who's challenging that, because you have an attorney.
Right.
One thing I want to actually, tomorrow morning I'll be attending a citizen naturalization ceremony, and when I attend these about 2 or 3 times a year. Do you participate? Do your office participate in those, and to what extent?
We do. We participate. We've been in them for a number of years, I think since I became tax collector, and we do it for 2 reasons. One, the most important reason for me is I want every member of my staff to be at one. So every month we send a couple different people. I want them to see and hear the stories of the people that are migrating this country, because they're coming to our counter to be waited on. They're new citizens, they're looking for a driving license, and I think it's important that our staff, who for the most part were blessed to be born in America, they didn't have to go through this process, to be able to see it firsthand. There's usually somebody, 1 or 2 people, that talk about their journey to get here and the troubles that they had to go through and the trials they had to go through. So it's very important for us to let our staff see that. Secondly, each one of those folks are going to become a tax collector customer, and
it's inevitable.
They're excited, they're ready to go. They're now a U.S. citizen, and what was happening is they would take their documents, they'd run to the post office, they'd mail it off to get their passport, leave the post office, come down to us and say, well, I need to get my driver's license, become a citizen.
Right.
Well, we can't because all your stuff's in an envelope headed to New Orleans. So we're there to talk to them. You know, if you're going to apply for a passport and you need to be a citizen or want to be a citizen immediately, let's do that first. We'll hand you your documents back and then go to the post office and mail it and get your passport. And then finally, this is a job for Milo. Milo needs to be at these events, and we're
Yeah.
through testing.
I was thinking
And
that. Mhm.
if Judge Rogers will grant us the ability to bring our system into the courthouse, then I think we should be right there so they can line up and become a citizen and get their citizenship changed, register to vote. We need to do it all right there at the point. And I think it's a powerful message to them that we care and
Yeah.
that you're here.
It's an awesome ceremony.
Yes, sir.
Like you say, it's an awesome ceremony to see them come in and how grateful they are.
And they're packed. You've got to scratch to get a seat. I mean, they're packed every time, and I think people in Pensacola really should get up and go down and visit some of these. And I don't believe you can find a community that does it the way we do it. I don't think it exists anywhere.
It's a ceremony.
Yeah, it is.
It's a ceremony. That's what it is.
And it's powerful, it's moving, it's respectful, and again, I would be amazed to see that there's a place that does it as good as we do, and I know they don't do it any better.
Yeah, and I was looking at we have a person that comes sing songs in
Right.
all these different languages, and he was saying about how he had went somewhere at one time and he done one, and it was like. It was over before you knew it. Then he came to Pensacola.
Oh.
and
it's an
he
actual
participated
ceremony.
in the one in Pensacola. So now he tried to get back and try to get back the men as he can. You probably heard him.
Right, I have several times,
Yeah.
and he now lives in Texas
He's in
and
Texas.
travels here to do these ceremonies. It means that much to him too. His wife was a naturalized citizen,
Okay.
and he went to another community, saw what she went through,
Yeah,
and
that's right.
and then he's like, no, we can do better, and he is a huge part of better because he sings the national anthem in about 9 different languages
Wow.
at the ceremony.
Nine different languages.
I mean, he is really good.
It's good. And then we recognize the youngest new citizen,
Right.
and then we recognize the oldest. And it's just a beautiful ceremony.
Yeah,
Kinda
that sounds
off-
like it.
off
Yeah.
that a bit,
I need
yeah.
to attend. Maybe I'll go tomorrow.
We'll call early because they are packed.
Okay, yeah.
Have to get there by 9:15 to get a good seat. So at 10. Hopefully I'm not getting it too much, but yeah. Have to get there a little early.
But yes, we're there. And as far as I'm concerned, we'll always be there, and hopefully we'll find a way to get Milo in the program as well.
Oh yeah, that would be great. We can get Milo involved in that. That's on the spot.
Well, Escambia County is the first county in Florida when you're
Right.
coming from the west. So it seems like our offices, the Escambia County Tax Collector and the Supervisor of Elections, have spearheaded a lot of things. I know we're not talking about the Supervisor of Elections, but I know that they have spearheaded a lot of initiatives that streamlined the whole voting process. But the Escambia County Tax Collector's office has transformed since you got elected, because you could see what needed to be improved and what needed to be streamlined. So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
I'm really
Thank
happy
you.
that to have you as our tax collector, and that you have a vision and you can see and you actually care about the citizens. I mean, speaking to you, evidently care about the community, and you care about helping people and making it easy for people to get what they need, because people need, I mean, everybody uses the tax collector's office.
Right.
So no matter who you are, there's a reason for you to do business with the tax collector's office. And I know from experience, you have streamlined it. It's amazing.
Thank you. Well, I tell
Everything you've
people all the time, I'm never going to make you happy to come somewhere you don't want to be, to write a check you don't want to write, but I do want you to leave saying they were nice to me.
It was
They treated me
efficient.
good. They treated me nice,
Yeah.
and we get tons of feedback every day. We get letters every day
Mm-hmm.
about the impact it's making and how well people are treated. We're just happy for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to mention, you mentioned Supervisor of Elections. elections, a lot of folks be surprised to know that we register in the tax collector's office 75 to 80% of the voters that register to vote in this county are registered in our office, either through the driving license process or through our standalone kiosk that we have in our lobbies where you can just walk up and register to vote. And right now it's only in the driving license transactions, but we're modernizing that to where it will be every transaction for driving license, tag, or title registration. You'll get an opportunity to register to vote on both sides.
Wow.
So I think we'll probably get an opportunity to make more people able to vote than ever before once we get the modernized tag and title registration services done, and that should hit the streets January of 25.
Well, give some of these other offices something to do.
Well, we are, but it's important to get people registered to vote. Y'all know how hard it is to get registered voters, and we have zero tolerance. You will ask customers, and you will help them. We'll do anything we can, and if you just want to walk in our office, you can do it on registration kiosk, or you can take a paper application and take it home, fill it out, and mail it in. So we just want to make it easy as we can for people to register.
And business licenses, you can do that online now too.
They're totally online, and we've got some cool stuff that I really can't talk about coming on that. There is a bill this year to do away with business licenses statewide.
Really?
So we've got some projects on hold. You look at these processes, and I tell you, one of the things we were thinking and working on was, years ago, we'd go to the Yellow Pages, you'd flip over to appliances, and you'd go, here's all the appliance dealers. Well, I look at it, and I'm saying, we've got all these dealers licensed in my county. Is there any way that a customer could leverage this to find an appliance dealer, a landscaper, or whomever they might be looking for? So we're actually looking at ways, how do we take this business tax that you're being forced to do and say, well, if somebody's looking for a painter, how do we make it to where you can actually search and find people who are licensed in our county that can give you those services? And again, that's kind of on a hold now because we're waiting to see what this bill might do. And we've got some other things along that line to make it easier and simpler, but we've kind of put a pause on it because we don't want our vendors to spend money to build something that we wouldn't be able to use.
And then it's obsolete.
Right.
So, what would they do? If you don't have a business license, you just wouldn't be registered with the state? You can just run your business
there will
without-
be a number of folks that will still have to have a license, so an attorney, a contractor, electrical contractors, plumbing, doctors, nurses, they're licensed by the Department of Professional Business Services. So
So it
all
just
of
goes to
those
a different
people are
com-
still general contractors, architects, all of those folks will still have to have that state certification.
Gotcha.
They just won't have
The county.
county license that they have to buy to support that license.
That makes sense.
I have two items that I want to mention.
Okay.
And one of them is an experience I had. I came back from Germany in 2012, the end of 2012, and they had to ship my car over. So it finally came in towards the end of 2012, and I went to register it because I had bought the car in Germany, and I used a credit card, and the interest that I paid for that credit card was $200
Right.
and something, where I could have got that if I would have known prior to coming there. I wouldn't have had to pay that much interest. I could have actually paid it in cash or paid it another way.
Right.
Is that still a good idea to? Are we still that interest still there?
Cash is king, and we still take it.
I would imagine they're not going to pay the fees.
What drives that is there's a cost to use that credit card. And so when I sell you a tag for $36, state of Florida needs $36, I can't subtract what it costs you to use your credit card. So you're paying a fee for that service provider for the convenience of using that card. If you're on our website, hit the button that says e-check, pay by e-check. There's no service fee. We'll always take cash if you want to pay cash. But it's a cost of doing business, and you're starting to see it more and more where stores are no longer hiding it like they used to. They just tell you, hey, you can use your credit card, but it's going to cost you $3 instead of $2. And I hoping I stopped and got a donut the other morning. They're like, you paying cash or credit? I'm like, well, which one's cheaper? So you make a decision. But nowadays, it's on our website. It's everywhere we can put it that there is a fee if you choose to use credit card. Our folks should be telling you as soon as they see that you're going to use a credit card, there's a $2.95 fee. Most of ours are a flat fee. and you get back to the title service. You want your title, you want it now. Is it worth $2.95 not to wait in line to pick it up? So it's a choice. And then the other side of the coin is there's a lot of folks that if they can't put it on credit, they can't get the service.
Right.
It's not an option for them. If they want that title or registration, that's how they manage their payments to where they can register vehicles and be legal. So, yes, there is a fee, but it's always been there. The big stores have always hid it from you. It's wrapped up in their pricing. And instead of paying $2 for a ticket on a shelf, they had $3, $5, whatever it was, to cover their expenses of selling you that item.
Another question, and I see people all the time, individuals all the time, they want to buy a car.
Right.
It's a new car, a used car. So they say, I don't want to buy the car in Pensacola. I want to go to Mobile, Louisiana, or some other place. But I want to bring it back to Pensacola and register it. So to the folks out there who want to, say, maybe go to Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, or somewhere, is there an additional cost? How does that work
Impact
as
fee.
far as when you bring your car back and you want to register it and all that stuff?
No, there's not an additional fee any longer. The impact fees were done away with a number of years ago. The thing first thing you want to think about is if you buy it out of state, there is no lemon law. So Florida can't help you if something's wrong with the car. So you give up the lemon law right away. There are some advantage to buying certain things out of state that you don't have to pay tax on if it's bought out of state. The turnaround is that state may charge you tax on it over there, even though Florida doesn't. And if you're financing your car and you're buying it out of state and you intend to finance the taxes and everything into it, you need to make sure that out-of-state dealer charges you enough Florida tax and Florida fees that when they send your title work to our office, it's paid for and you don't have to come out of pocket with $1,000 or $2,000. So buying it out of state saves money if you can find a car at a better price, but the tax rate, the title fees are all the same. And sometimes we'll see customers who do not calculate in that they've got to pay that $2,000 or whatever it might be, and now they're at the counter, they're wanting to register their car, and they don't have the money to do it. So just be sure if you're buying it out of state that you tell the dealer, we're registering in Florida, I need you to sell and include all the taxes and fees into the selling price so that my finance company will finance that for me.
Okay, so that's the fee. That's
right.
That's what you need to do. You
Right.
just need to make sure once you buy that vehicle, everything is included in the sale.
Right.
charge.
And then there's a small handful of states that will not reciprocate with other states on sales tax. So if you buy a car in Alabama and you pay, let's just say 2% over there, when you come to Florida, we're going to take the 2% you've already paid off of what you're going to pay us. So if you owe us a total of 6%, we're only going to collect 4% more because you got a receipt showing you've already paid 2% in that state.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to charge you the difference to keep from penalizing you because we don't want to penalize you from choosing where you want to buy your car. So if you want to get it in another state, that's fine, but you're going to at least pay the difference from what they charged you to what we charged you. And again, if you want it all financed, you need to make sure your dealer knows calculated at Florida's rate, and it's all on our website, and so my finance company can write a check that covers everything.
Scott, you have to have some smart people, individuals working in your office.
Well,
I don't think I would be able to
It
do all of
is.
that.
It is.
We have 100 employees
We do.
and 5 offices, right? Is
we
it
have
4 or 5?
4.
4 offices.
We have 100 employees, and it is a mental game, and every
A lot of training, I'm
every circumstance has a good side and a bad side. I can tell you a quick story. A lady come in one day and said, "How much is the title?" And I said, "Well, what do you need a title for?" And she got mad and said, "There you go. Y'all just can't answer a question." So I gave her the highest.
Well, yeah.
I gave her the highest price title we sell. I said,
Yeah.
$85 and a dime. She goes inside a little bit. She comes back out. "See, you don't even know what they cost. I only paid $17. I said, "Well, you must have bought a boat title." She said, "Yeah." And I said, "That's the reason I asked you what title you wanted
Right.
because there's different fees."
I
And I
know,
didn't want
right?
to tell you 85. You go home thinking you need to save 85 before you come back when you really need 17. So everything we do has different circumstances, different ways at work. Are you a veteran? Are you not a veteran? And you just go down this list of questions. And our computers are much better. They help us, but there's just a ton of stuff you just have to know. And the training, we tell our folks, you're not going to feel comfortable for a year, and you're not going to feel like you got it probably to a year and a half, 2 years, because there's just so much to learn.
What's your retention rate, your employee retention rate?
Our retention rate, if they get past the first year and they like the job, we retire them. They're there. We retire them. The dynamics have changed in the last few years since COVID. We've seen a lot of turnover. You hire them, and one of the unique challenges about our job is you deal with the public, and most of the folks, for the most part, are not there because they want to be there. They're not buying a new couch or a new car or ice cream cone. They're not happy that they're writing you this big check just to drive their car. So you have to be able to deal with that. And sometimes people get a little noisy, and you have to learn to just let it roll off your back, and you move on. We saw it this morning.
You have to learn not to take it personally.
Right, absolutely.
They get upset. They're not upset at you. They're upset at the situation.
Right.
And you just happen to be the employee working there. I'm
Right.
sure
We
you
had
tell.
an incident
I'm sure you
this
tell
morning.
everybody that in training.
We had an incident this morning, and I told the girl, I said, look, he's not mad at you. He's mad at the system. He's not happy with the situation he's in. He don't mean it. And 3 or 4 minutes later, he come back and he said, ma'am, I'm sorry. That was not, that was me. So,
I'm sure everybody goes away, whether they come back and apologize or not. They're like, oh man, I really wish I didn't say all that.
You say, you're aggravated, frustrated, but, he went away and a little bit he was back and said, hey, that wasn't nice. I'm sorry.
I've seen that happen before. Yeah. I've seen that happen before.
I'm sure we all have.
They get frustrated, then they come back and
right.
And now you have a friend.
Right. Well, biggest challenge with us is you can't ask us a question that we don't need to ask you more than one, just to get to the bottom of what you really want to do and what your desired outcome is, to make sure we sell you what you're wanting to get, because we have to get it right every time. When you leave there, your tag and title has to be right. Your driving license has to be right. There's consequences if it's wrong, and we just
have to know little details in order to help people.
Right.
You have to ask the questions. It's like I own a housekeeping service, and people call me and they're like, "How much is it to clean my house?" I know nothing about their house. I don't know the condition, the size, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, when was the last time it was cleaned. So I have to ask questions before I can give a quote over the phone. And I usually can give a quote over the phone. It takes like 30 minutes to get all the information that I need to give you a quote.
Exactly.
And so I completely understand. You have to ask questions in order to give an answer. You have to know what you're giving an answer on.
Right. Very, very true. And again, most of these folks are just frustrated at the situation they're in, and it's not you. And, typically they leave and you don't see them and you don't get that apology. But today we're in an event, so he's wandering around looking at different things, and I think it finally weighed on him a little bit, and he came back.
Or the next time you see them somewhere else, they have a totally different outlook and a different demeanor. And
So if a person have a truck and they just want to go get something that they can load stuff on, they call them the thing you hook up to the truck where you can haul stuff around. The hitch. That's a tag, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So anything you attach to your vehicle.
Right. The only thing in Florida that you can pull behind a vehicle that does not require a tag is a bee trailer, if you're hauling honeybees, or the little dolly
don't
you
see
put
too many of those.
You do not, but they're totally exempt under Florida law. And then the little dollies you see behind motorhomes with the front 2 tires up on it, pulling a car, those little dollies are not registered in Florida either. Now, you'll see from other states, you'll see registrations on them, but under Florida law, they don't exist. There's nowhere in the statute that thing's even mentioned.
And like a farm tractor that can be driven on the road just to transport it
they're exempt.
A short distance.
So even if it's a homemade hitch, if it's homemade.
If you hook it to your car for the purpose of transporting it down the road,
you have to have red lights
you have to have the tag light, tail lights, turn signals. You need everything and a registration, except for the dolly and the bee trailer.
And are we doing as far as mobile homes now? Are we I know tags are probably our biggest registration, but is there any taxes on mobile home or that?
Yes.
How do we gauge that? Do we gauge it by the property, or we gauge it by the home, or how is that?
Exactly.
Which one?
Exactly.
Both.
We're going to ask you a few questions.
Yeah.
Mobile homes are registered just like a car. You need a tag and a title for a mobile home.
Mm-hmm.
And when you register your mobile home, you'll get a decal for it, and it goes two ways. One is if you don't own the property it sits on, it's like you got a rental lot, you're going to get a decal that expires every year. If you own the property, we're going to put it on the property tax roll. We're going to give you a decal that's black with the letters RP, which means it's real property.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chris Jones' office is going to include that as part of your assessment for that acreage that it's sitting on.
Okay.
So it can go either way, just depending on if you own the property or don't own the property.
Scott, it was so nice having you on the show.
Well, thank you.
I would like to have you on again for a third time.
Thank you.
I learn something every time I talk to you. Like I just enjoy conversations with you, and it's great to have you on the show because this is a great public awareness. Just letting the public know what the Escambia County Tax Collector's Office does for them, because
Right.
everybody is a customer of the Escambia County Tax Collector's Office. It's
Right.
inevitable.
Well, we enjoyed being here, and I just real quick want to say, go to ScambiaCountyTaxCollector.com and click on the button, see what's available, /Milo, /military. There's a ton of resources there to help folks get what they need, and in many cases, not even have to come in.
I want to say the same thing. I thought I learned a lot the last time.
I know.
And I learned more tonight, and I still have more to learn.
Right.
So
we'll have you back
agree
for
with
sure.
So we're gonna have
Thank
to,
you.
We're gonna have to have you back, and good luck. And we thanks for your community service, the position you hold, and we're fortunate here to have you in that position.
Thank you.
And-
I'm blessed to be there.
We also want to thank our sponsors, Ida Gates Godly Tees LLC, Next Door Real Estate Photography, First National Title Insurance Company, our guest Scott Lunsford, Escambia County Tax Collector, for coming on the show. And we want to thank our viewers for watching this episode of the Thornton Review. The Thornton Review is on the air to provide public service awareness and intellectual infrastructure to our community. We hope you'll tune in to our next show. Bye-bye.